Perfect. We are excited to have you join us today, whether live here at PD on the Patio and giving up part of your last precious week of summer. So we appreciate you being here. And if not, we want to welcome you on video, and we appreciate you taking time to watch this session, which is all about a brand new initiative, brand new whole scope and sequence that we're rolling out this year called our Tech Scope and Sequence. So we're really excited. This is something that has taken years and years to pull together, and we're just now launching it this year. So we're like I said, I think I used the word excited like 3 or 4 times, but that's a genuine word. We literally are excited to roll this out to you. Just so you know, my name is Carrie Kunert, and I'm a member of our digital curriculum team, and a person who's been working on this for years with my friend Nicole.
Yes, hi, I'm Nicole Carter, and yeah, Carrie and I started working on the Tech Scope and Sequence like 3 or 4 years ago, and just more recently trying to figure out how to build the best supports for teachers to make it an actual reality versus just this document that we had been staring at for so long. So yeah, I think we're both super excited about it. All right, let's keep going then. I think, as always, we're going to continue down the route of keeping equity lens in our focus when we're building and doing anything, and we'll kind of allude to that as we talk specifically about some of the lessons. We've definitely worked really hard to prepare lessons that are ready to go for fall, and through that, I know Carrie has worked on quite a few that have included Dr. Goldie Mohammed's work for identity and that sort of stuff. So the equity lens has been a part of the process the whole way through, and we're excited about that. And I'm going to pass this off to you, Carrie.
Okay, so big picture, essentially what we have done, and again, it's been like a 3-4 year process, is all the other content areas have a scope and sequence, right? That's just sort of how it works. What does a kindergarten skill need to look like versus a 3rd grader skill versus a 5th grade, right? So there is this progression that goes up throughout the grades. The one area in our district that we really felt like there was a hole was in technology, that we really didn't have a clear, we wanted our students to be utilizing technology, but what did that look like at each grade level? So we went down this voyage, I guess, to try and define that for our teachers. And if we didn't have it clearly defined for ourselves, what was a 2nd grader, again, to be doing just different than a 4th grader? So we started with standards, right? That's always where you go. You go back and you say, okay, what are the standards? So ISTE is a big national consortium. It is the International Society of Technology Education. And they have come up with these big standards. And their standards are kind of in these giant groupings. So they have these big, kind of big umbrella ideas that they have these big topics, like one is an empowered learner, right? So there they are, they're the colored blobs across the top there. Empowered learner, whether you're a good digital citizen, a knowledge constructor, an innovative designer, which is an area that hasn't been getting quite the amount of focus that we'd love to see, a computational thinker, and also a creative communicator. So those are their big buckets for how they organize their skills. But and Nicole and I and teachers, okay, that sounds fabulous, but what are the actual skills that are under those big umbrellas? So we did a lot of research, and we pulled out, we created this huge spreadsheet. Again, probably more information.
Yeah, do you want me to open that spreadsheet up? Because
Sure.
I will open that up. Okay.
It's a bit intimidating when you look at it initially, but if you're going to do a comprehensive job of making sure you have all these skills covered, you need to list out what all the skills are in all of those big umbrellas. So that's what we did, is we made sure to pull out all of the super tiny little skills. So, okay, that's a nice word, empowered learner. What does that really mean to be an empowered learner? What are all the mini skills, right, within that big umbrella? And then we looked specifically at Beaverton School District. So not just what are those skills that are in all grades, but specifically here in Beaverton, we do things like we have Seesaw as our learning management system in the primary grades, our digital portfolio. We also have Canvas. So what do these skills look like specifically in the Beaverton School District? Everything from word processing to how do you log on to your device, right? Those kinds of, it seems like minutia, but those are the skills that we need to make sure our students know how to do. Keyboarding, can they actually get their words down, right, in an efficient manner? Presentation tools, So all kinds of 21st century digital literacies that we want our students to have. And there, Nicole is showing you where I referenced, we made it Beaverton specific that, okay, if we're going to ask our students to use Seesaw and Canvas, what are the skills they need to know? And at what grade level are those skills appropriate to be introduced and taught? Everything. So you can see it is a beefy document. We have it. We we went all the way up through 12th grade. And again, this is a working document as we see things that need to be edited and tweaked and fixed. And with the input of more minds, we are more than happy to do that. This was a launching point, but my gosh, we took them all, we broke them into little skills.
I'm definitely a kind of person, I really, really like this document. I mean, especially as a person that's creating some of these lessons, the skills being so minutiae is so helpful. But I can definitely understand why someone would look at this and go, yep, nope, this is way too much for me. But it is helpful.
You don't need to look at this necessarily, but wanted you to know the background that came from, okay, where did all this come from? Why are these the units that you're assigning to our grade level per se? So we took all of those skills and then we worked them into units and we worked them into lessons. So just to support our teachers. So we didn't just say, good luck, here are your 800 skills that we need to cover. We've pulled that together in a more comprehensive way to support our teachers. So what are we wanting? We are wanting to move our students forward in an organized way. Again, just like you do with math, right? This is the skill they need to learn at separate grade levels. We're doing the same thing with technology. So we are making sure that we have a district-wide, comprehensive, building skill upon skill game plan in this scope and sequence. So on the left here, we have our mission that all Beaverton students are going to become creators and also users of digital tools. It's our mission that all of our students will have developmentally appropriate, engaging, and also culturally responsive digital learning instruction. So easier said than done, especially when you get a schedule for your class, like this is when I teach reading, this is when I teach writing, this is when I teach science. Digital piece doesn't necessarily have a specific focused time with a teacher. So it's going to be a little bit bigger of a challenge to make sure, but these skills can be covered across all kinds of other content areas. Why are we doing this? Now, this is a big one. We're doing it, well, just because we want to make sure that our students are ready for, we say career and college ready. And I can't think of a more career and college ready thing than making sure that they are digitally literate students, right? We are preparing them for jobs that we don't even necessarily know what those jobs are or the skills that those jobs will require, but having digital competency is absolutely essential to like most jobs that students are going to be facing in the next when they are job ready, right? Yes. Another huge part is that we have we have something referred to as SIPA, and that helps us to be able to get lower cost internet for our district. And there are requirements in order to qualify to receive that internet. We need to make sure that we are doing a number of things. Filtering to make sure our kids don't have access to inappropriate content. We need to also make sure that our libraries are rich and have all kinds of resources for students. And another piece of that is making sure that we have digital citizenship taught to our students. And that is a legal requirement. We're trying to make that clear. I just spoke to the elementary principals last week and tried to make that super clear to them that is not an optional thing to teach digital citizenship, that it is a required part, just like math and reading and writing, that is required to teach that digital citizenship part in terms of SIPA. So what we did is we created, like, okay, this sounds like we want to make it manageable. So we created units, we created lessons that are optional for teachers to teach, but that support the implementation of all of these skills. We have created pacing guides. We've created a website that we'll dive into in a little bit, and we've created units to help our teachers try to implement this.
Yep. So how we're proposing this kind of rollout. So right now we're just doing some professional learning for everybody. We're going over what it looks like or what it should look like. We'll start delivering resources to you. That stuff is up and ready to go right now, but just like, how do you access it? Where is it at? And continue to provide some optional PD throughout the school year as more lessons come online. We definitely made a fast pitched effort to get everything up and going for the first couple of months of the year. And then we'll just continue to pump out lessons so that you have them for the rest of the year. And we'll just continue to communicate out about the lessons and the planning of certain things, like when we're thinking they will be best used, which we'll talk about that in a little bit with the scope and sequence. And, you know, just keep it kind of in your face with TNL Tuesdays and communicating about, you know, what things need to be happening when. So we kind of went over this a little bit. So I'm going to skip. Yes, Carrie?
No.
No?
Yeah, go right
ahead. Yeah, you went over this a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay. And so I think the thing to remember is that within each of these big umbrella or buckets that ISTE has, we've kind of created these small little units that go with those each individual buckets. And as we were planning this, we were trying really hard to not overload any one specific grade level. I don't know, Carrie, if you want to add to that at all. It was something we were being very conscientious of. What is age appropriate, but then also, you know, we didn't want all third grade to be full of a whole bunch of skills because they're getting a Chromebook, right? Like it needed to be nicely paced for everyone.
No, that's perfect. And we thought about specifically the devices that we use in Beaverton and at what age they're introduced. So we wanted to make sure those skills build. And a big point is being, since this is elementary focused at this point, we want to make sure that our students are 6th grade ready with certain things like Canvas introduction prior to entering middle school to best support them as learners.
Yeah. All right. This is you, Carrie, a little bit about where they can find their information and how we're providing everything.
Perfect. It's like you take this giant piece of information, right? You saw that crazy slide deck, the crazy spreadsheet, and then we have all of these units. We're like, how on earth are they going to be able to find all these resources, right? Like where you need it. So what we decided to do for elementary is that there is already a slide deck at your grade level that people go to. It's off the elementary website, which it started in remote learning, but it's become kind of a staple for where to find resources at the elementary level. So if you go to the elementary website, every grade level on there has their own slide deck full of resources. There are pages about math and your math pacing for the year, science, social studies, everything. So we just added our digital resources there as well. So on the left there, we have a page just of resources for you. You can read the best practices document that we've come up with, our position paper. We have links there to give you the scope and sequence, the big full daddy if you want, or broken down by your grade level. We also have created a website. So we can show you the website in a bit, but that website will also link you there. It's one of those things like if you can find it 5 different ways, whatever works for different people. So we have created this page full of resources. Each one of our lessons should be relatively short. Under 45 minutes, 15 to 45 minutes is our hope. Some of them are much shorter than others, depending on the skill. We're building skills. So we're making sure, and I'm like, I built a number of units K through 2, and you look at, okay, if they learn this in kindergarten, I'm going to assume that they have familiarity with that. The next year, we're going to build upon that knowledge. I'm going to assume they have that information in 2nd grade, and we get more and more complex going through the years. Now, one of the questions is at elementary level, we do have a TIA, and that's the person who teaches the technology class for your students. When they go to specials, they go to the TIA for technology support. And we are working on how exactly, it's an interesting position because it is a classified position. So the person is not a certified teacher who has to come up with their own lesson plans. So depending on your TIA, depending on your school, depending on their comfortability with covering these lessons, it's a possibility that they could perhaps teach some of them. And so we've kind of said it's hard to make a general statement like your TIA will cover this lesson, but I know at a number of schools they are supporting with, I know last year they did a number of digital citizenship lessons to help support teachers. I know that they've helped with coding to help support teachers and sometimes typing skills. So kind of up to your individual schools. So that's a resource at your school that you can talk to about this implementation. So we're looking at a big year-long plan, and every grade level has, I think, 5 to 7 units to be covered. Now, we have put those units on the page on the right there in what we would consider a game plan for where to integrate them. You notice that we put the word potential timeline, meaning that is not when it has to be taught, but that's when we are suggesting, because we have taken a look at the entire scope and sequence with your math units and your health units and your social sciences, and we have plugged in where we think it makes the most sense. So you look at this second grade example, we have a unit on launching the iPad, the advanced version, and also Seesaw, some advanced skills in Seesaw. We're recommending that that be taught in September because that's ideally when you're handing them devices, when you're getting them on Seesaw, so that it makes sense. We're suggesting digital citizenship be taught in October. It's Digital Citizenship Month, and those are skills that we want kids to have for the entire year. After that, you'll notice that we put design thinking in November because we think it pairs beautifully with a physical science unit that you already are teaching that has to do with property of materials. So there were explicit reasons that we put it in a specific spot, but it doesn't necessarily mean that's where you have to teach it. There's nothing in stone that it's required at that point in time. So hopefully that makes sense, and you can work with your teaching team as to where it makes the most sense and integrates the best with your classroom.
It's kind of the same thing, just a different view, just shows you the pacing all the way through the year, first and second semester. Okay. So within the units themselves, you'll have like a teacher slide deck. Sometimes you'll have Seesaw lessons or even a Canvas module if you're in 4th or 5th grade. And so we just kind of wanted to point out some things to look for when you're using any of the lessons specifically. So we tried to point out your students are in 2nd grade, they need an iPad. Your students are in 3rd grade, they need their Chromebook. And tried to show as well where you might find loop everything back. We wanted it all to be very cyclical, right? So where can you go back to see the minutia? Where do you need to go back to see your pacing guide? Did you teach the unit and have some feedback for us because something didn't work, or you think that this would be better done somewhere else? We've got a feedback form. We've individually tried to pull out the standards or skills that are being taught in the specific unit so that you can see that quite clearly and see where it's being taught in which lesson. We color coded a lot of stuff. There's a lot of conversations about color coding. So I just wanted to make sure you knew what it meant when you saw those colors. And so that's kind of off to the side. There sometimes is some things pointed off on the gray working side of the slide deck. So be paying attention to that. And then additionally, some of your slides might show the specific skills standards hits, and then additionally where you can find some of the Seesaw. We don't always know where people are going to click to find things, so it might seem repetitive to you, but that's just simply because it might show up for one person in an area and show up somewhere else for someone else, right? So try to link everything in multiple different places. I don't know, Carrie, if you want to talk about this, do you want me to keep going?
I happily.
Okay.
One of the things that we did is we tried to make sure that within your lessons that we had gone ahead and created some supports within the learning management system that you use at your grade level. So if you are a primary teacher, oftentimes we created a Seesaw activity to support that digital lesson. Same thing for upper grades in terms of creating a module in Canvas to support that instruction. So just want to make sure that you saw that we had done that, and those are all linked within the slide decks. So again, you are welcome to use those, not use those, but it is a starting point for you.
I'm one of those people that I definitely like something to start with, and then I can modify as I want to, but to have someone think through that process first is always helpful, I think. And then additionally, we just, again, want to point out any of those teacher slide decks, be on the lookout in the notes section of the slide decks for any additional information to use during your instruction. There might be a link to an additional website or a video or something. Just be on the lookout that there might be more information down below to guide you through the process. And then Carrie, do you want to go ahead and talk about more
Yeah.
in-depth stuff?
Happily, this is our like overview, right? Like, why on earth did we do this? What does this text scope and sequence look like? To get into like the nitty gritty of each grade level and talk about the units at each grade level, we have sessions all this week, and all of these will be recorded as well. So you can access all of these, and they will be on our digital backpack site. So we will make sure and show that to you momentarily so you'll know how to get there. But I want to make sure that you saw that later today, today's the 23rd, at 11 o'clock, all of these sessions happen at 11 a.m. We will be having text, scope, and sequence specifically for third grade teachers. So if you are a third grade teacher, 11 o'clock, that is your class there for Dawn. And then also simultaneously, Nicole will be teaching the kindergarten version, and we'll be looking at your specific units, kind of breaking down that first unit so you feel prepared and ready to go with that first. It's like launching the year, right? We do that in everything, launching the writer's workshop, launching your math workshop. This is launching your technology game plan for the year. Now, I have heard from a few people, and people are emailing me right now, that Teacher Source is struggling, or people are struggling to get into Teacher Source even when they're doing everything correctly. So we can access all of that through our PD on the Patio slide deck, which is our course catalog. And that is right down here. So even if you cannot get into Teacher Source for whatever reason, you are welcome to click on that PD on the Patio course catalog. That will take you there. And there is just the live Zoom link. So you can hop in the Zoom, and we will worry about registering for Teacher Source credits later. Okay, so if you can't get in, don't stress. Please feel free to join us. And if you are watching this at a different time, all of that slide deck will stay active, and all of the recorded sessions will be on there as well. So you're welcome to watch this at whatever point in time works best for you, but to make sure that you see your specific grade levels. Same thing tomorrow, Wednesday, there will be what is it, 4th grade and 1st grade. And then Thursday, we will be doing 5th grade and 2nd grade. So you will get a time devoted just to your grade level. Okay, that was a lot of information, but we want to show you the website and show you some of that information. Before we do, are there any questions about kind of the big picture-y stuff that we've covered? I heard a question frame the other day. You don't say, are there any questions? You say, what questions do you have about? Or that just means we did such a comprehensive job explaining it that there are no questions. No, see, thumbs up to that. Okay, all right. Okay, so in order to find these things, right? That seems like the crux of my existence, right? I know that document exists somewhere. I know that resource is somewhere, but where do I go about finding it? So
I'm also wondering, hold on. I'm also wondering if I should open up the elementary. I'll do that too. I'll show you. Okay. I'm trying to guide you and pull up other additional things all at the same time. So
no worries.
Yeah.
No, there are always like 8 places to find things, right? Because different people click things in different ways. Yeah. Okay, so Nicole, you're going to go to the elementary site.
I'm trying to get it right now.
Okay, no worries. We can get there through the staff bookmarks.
Okay. Oh, okay, that's right.
Yeah, so if you click on your staff bookmarks, there is a link that will take you to the elementary website. And just so you know, we are in the process of putting a link on there to take you directly to our site for this resource. So hopefully there will be a button there soon that says scope and sequence or digital learning. But right now we can go through the elementary website, which is on the left there, the blue little teacher little up.
Did I miss it already? Where
yeah,
is
on the
it?
left.
I see.
It's kind of teal. Yeah.
Okay, got it.
So this takes you to your elementary website, which I think our teachers are super familiar with, and you can click on any grade you want. Beautiful. And there is a brand new slide deck that has just been populated in here for this school year. And if you go back, Nicole, just one more. Okay. Yep. It'll show you if you want to see the whole thing, you can go through the whole thing. But it actually links right on that front homepage there. You can click right to the digital resources. So they give you all the different subject areas where they're near the bottom, digital. Beautiful. That takes you to that page that we referenced. And that page clicks to our digital learning website. So it's the either the icon or that writing right there takes you to the digital learning website where you can get all of these units independent, but they're all also right there in that other previous slide deck.
Yeah.
Okay, so next page.
Wait, where am I going?
That's okay.
I
Let's
need
go
to go
back a
back
page.
to their, I need to go back to their like pacing though, right?
Oh, you can. Nothing's linked there, but you can look there.
Oh, nothing's linked. Oh,
Uh-huh.
okay.
That's
Where do you
okay.
want me to go?
Oh, let's go back to those digital pages. Digital curriculum. I'm wanting a slide 17. Can you go to the next slide for me?
That's this one.
That's interesting.
Do you want me to keep clicking?
Yeah, let's just keep clicking forward and see if maybe they got out of order. I need to get my hands back on this slide deck and get it.
Yeah, it's not.
Okay. Well, what you were supposed to see right there.
I'll go into ours maybe.
Okay, beautiful. What you're supposed to see right there is that beautiful page full of the units and the game plan for the year. And I will make sure that that gets updated with our elementary friends. All right. That's what you're supposed to see right there, that page right there. So I'll make sure that it gets there for you. So again, for every grade level, all of these on the left are hyperlinked to go right to that slide deck. So as you can see, we only have September and October fully published right now, and we're continuing to work hopefully ahead of you on what the rest of the year looks like. So Nicole has opened up here the first unit in second grade on launching the iPad.
I don't know how much.
Yeah, so it shows you, this is part of the empowered learner that we talked about initially. We show you the scope and sequence, and then it jumps into lessons. So you'll see at the bottom there, Nicole has put at the bottom some teacher notes for you in the middle of this lesson. You may try doing this. Over on the side, you'll notice that she had additional resources for you in that first picture. She had additional in the gray.
I didn't know what kind of hand washing everybody might have or how they might want to interpret that. So I put a whole bunch of images off to the side for people to change and modify if they wanted. Sorry.
Yeah, but be sure to look at that gray area. There are sometimes resources there for you. So this is right. This is how am I going to use my iPad? I'm going to make safe choices. I'm the rules, right? That would be the first time that you get an iPad in your hands. You're going to talk about how that works. Then she has lessons on actually going through how would we restart it? How do we open it? What are the buttons we touch? So it's just leading students through those, again, basics, but also reminders at second grade that this is how we're going to treat our iPad. This is how we're going to, I don't know, class norms, right? That you start the year with.
Yeah. So
we included lots of visuals. And again, we gave skills that perhaps you have been teaching with your class, perhaps not, like dictation, right? Have you been utilizing the dictation feature on your iPad, which is an accessibility feature for all students to be able to get their words down, your thoughts into words?
So, I mean, I know that when I was creating, I really was thinking short, right? So in my mind, these would be 10, 15 minutes long, but some might take longer, especially some of the more detailed units on design thinking or design principles, or having students create videos using the camera feature. I know Carrie was working on one of those. So it really does depend, but I know we were trying to keep it short and sweet for sure.
So the part we're super excited about, I think there are some skills that have been covered. I don't doubt that kids have learned how to use an iPad, right? Like that's something that's been covered. Internet research tools, has that been fully covered? Have we talked about copyright? Have we talked about safe searches? There are a number of skills that I'm not sure have been being widely taught in every second grade classroom in the district that we need to, right?
I'm excited about that one. I'm going to work really closely with our district librarians to make sure that we've got some really great tools that we've had, but maybe, again, like Carrie said, we're maybe not utilizing. I think that'll be a really good unit. So, yeah.
And again, just excited because these skills build upon skill, build upon skill, build upon skill. So if our teachers are covering these units, by the time our kids head off to middle school, my goodness, they have this basis in design thinking. They have this basis in information design, how to organize into a slide deck and colors and all kinds of design principles that will just make their work going forward, their projects be so much more rich and their skill set be so much better.
I've been
Videography.
really excited about that unit. I have to, I have to like jump in and say that the
Yes.
design, because I think the whole time while I was making, I was like, what, if a teacher's watching this and going like, why on earth would I even need to talk about information design or design principles? And like, in the end, what it comes down to is giving the kids just foundational skills in creating really nice end products, right? Like maybe it won't take as long to make their published piece. Maybe and not only will it maybe not take as long, but it also will turn out really fabulous, right? Or give you different ideas for how to do that end published piece. You know, why would we want to do a unit on using the camera feature of an iPad? Like, okay, once the kids understand how to do that, that it opens so many more doors for creation, and to show what they know, right? So it's really exciting. Yeah, I think it's gonna be really good. It's that end game though. Yeah.
Yeah, like digital collaboration. We make sure that there are digital citizenship pieces woven into that, right? When you're collaborating digitally, when you're giving feedback on peers' work, what are the digital citizenship skills that need to be in place, and the class norms and those kinds of examples. So we are super excited, as you can tell. I know we're probably like kind of giddy, kind of silly giddy about this, but it's been years in the process of making sure that there is this well thought out, right? Not just you do whatever you want in terms of technology at your grade level or what you're passionate about, but making sure in third grade we cover Google Docs, in fourth grade we cover Google Slides, in fifth grade. So right by the time you get to middle school, again, that there is this wide, well thought out depth of knowledge in terms of all things technology, again, to support learning of our students in middle school. Your teacher asks you to do an Adobe project, no problem. You've already done Adobe Cloud Express projects. If they give you free choice in middle school to choose, you already have that exposure. So less teaching of the tools at the middle school, high school level, and more implementation and more learning and creativity.
Yeah. Okay, where else do you want me to go here in terms of live demoing? You think? Are we good?
I think so. Are there any, well, sorry, what are the questions that you have for us?
I like the reframing.
It's a totally different question.
I'm horrible at waiting.
Our game plan is to introduce right now the first few units, and then in like October, November, have another session where we then would introduce the next unit. So second grade teachers, we're ready to share the next unit to you. Oh, hey, Teresa has a question.
All right, sorry, because I was a little late because I couldn't get into Teacher Source to find the link, and thank you, Carrie, but you may have covered this already, but is this going to be an expectation for teachers to do as far as grade level goes? Embed this in our teaching?
It is an excellent question. It is not something that is adopted, officially mandated by the board, by the school district at this point. No, it is not. So I don't want to say optional, but it is not required. The required part is the digital citizenship. That is legally required for us to make sure to cover those skills. Outside of that, no, not officially required, but we're hoping that through your TIA or through your class or through a project you have going on anyway, again, I think they're just creativity skills, right? So getting kids to be fluent in photography and using their camera, then what can they do with that, right, in their next project? Or I wrote that unit and we put it with the poetry unit that they do anyway in second grade. So you're writing a me poem and you could apply these photography skills, take this pretty cool filtered picture and incorporate it anyway with your photo. It's kind of the idea that it's not a whole bunch of extra stuff you have to do. It is hopefully it's fun things.
So and additionally, short lessons, and hopefully well packaged for you. you know that it's like, oh yeah, Carrie Nicole made this. I'll try it. I'll try it out. That's also kind of the hope.
So if we can encourage like our teammates or whatever to dip their toes into it, then it'd be like awesome, right?
I mean, yeah, ultimately that's our hope. I mean, again, we would hope as you're using iPads in the classroom or you're using Chromebooks in the classroom, there is already some sort of lesson that you're providing on how to, use the devices safely, properly. So, maybe take a look at what you already have. I would hope you were doing something already, and look at what we've kind of come up with and merge the two or something, right? Or, as you're getting ready to do an activity on Seesaw or talk to parents through Seesaw or something, to know that we already have a unit ready to go to launch Seesaw for you. That again might be very similar to stuff that you've already done, but we might have a few new ideas thrown in there as well. Added caveat that again, we're trying to, as Carrie said, work in any of your units and or some of the Dr. Goldie Muhammad pieces, the SEL work, the identity work, like we're really trying to merge everything together and to hopefully make it seem enticing. But no, not all required.
Kristen, you have a question.
I do. Thank you. You mentioned the role of TIAs, and I was curious, would some of these lessons perhaps be part of the regular library time that classes have, or could you explain a little bit more about your vision with that, please?
Happily. I think it's one of those comfortability of the TIA and the LMA, right? Ideally, best practice, wouldn't it be fabulous if these skills were being taught by the TIA or covered by the LMA as well, and then supporting the classroom instruction, right? I think that's absolute what we'd like pie in the sky dream. I know we get a lot of turnover in that job role. So I do know that that can potentially be a bit more challenging. I do know that as not a certified teacher, there's no plan time for lesson creation. So that does hamper some of our ability. We can't just say this will be covered in that class. But these lessons are done, right? These lessons are written. So depending on your admin, depending on your TIA, if they can work into a system where the TIA says, hey, you know what, for second grade, I'll grab this unit. I'll handle this one for you. For third grade, I'll take this unit. I'll cover these 2 digital citizenship lessons and you guys have the others. If you can come into some agreements like that per building, I think that would be absolutely ideal and make this more manageable for all. But we can't mandate that if that makes sense.
It's just so hard. It's as Carrie said, the turnover rate for TIAs is astronomical every year. It's bad this year specifically. And every building functions so differently with their TIAs. Sometimes we do have certified people in that position, and then sometimes we do not. Sometimes those people see the students once every 14 days. Sometimes they see them once every 7 days. Like, it's just, the spectrum is crazy. For us to be able to roll out a systematic approach through only the TIAs would be, it would be too difficult. We can't do it. So.
But I do know that Dawn Gildner is working super closely with our TIAs, and she has done her best, right, to work with them prior to all of these units and say, okay, we're going to cover coding in the tech lab so that your students are prepared to handle some coding in the classroom, right? We're going to take a look at, I think in fact, last year, they were suggested to teach some of the digital citizenship lessons through the TIA time with the students. But again, not mandated. Thank you for that question. I know when we first started planning it out, we were like, okay, so if this was covered in the classroom and this was covered in the tech lab and this was covered in the library, right? And we could mandate that, beautiful, less on everyone's plate. And this just comprehensive, well-rounded, building upon skills, kids prepared for that bigger unit because they had the pre-teaching, right? Like, I would love that. I don't think we're to that point quite yet. Okay, maybe if there are no other questions, maybe we could share the at the very end here of our slide deck, we have the survey for this session. as well as the self check-in so that you can get your teacher source credit, assuming that teacher source is up and working right now, which not so sure that's happening. I do know that the odds are better if you go into it through the staff bookmarks. I know I've had that trouble, even if I've done everything right, sometimes it's just not working right now. And we are in the process of transitioning to a new teacher source called KickUp this fall. So that will be phased out soon, and we will have new information coming out to you, and new courses you may see coming out may be on this new platform called KickUp. So, and you can see the button for that in the staff bookmark page. They already have the button there for it. I think we're just migrating everything and trying to finish up summer PD, hanging on to teacher source until everything gets switched over.